As a matter of fact, I wouldn't be at this event. I was one of those guys that was always watching my six, couldn't enjoy myself because I'd be thinking about brothers that I had lost in combat and thinking in my head, why aren't they here to enjoy this moment with me? I'll take you guys back to Times Square in New York City. I was transitioning out, and my wife and I thought it'd be a good idea to go to Times Square. And we got there early in the morning, like 9 a.m., made the mistake of going to Starbucks as they were gating everything off. So drinking coffee at 9 a.m., and you're not allowed to leave and use the restroom, so you guys can imagine what the rest of that day was like. And as the evening progressed, there's pictures of my wife, and she's sitting over there, beautiful lady with the phone, recording me right now. And she's having a great time. Woo! She's happy, she's waving around. ABC News, my parents captured it, because they're like, oh, our kids they're at Times Square, we want to check it out. And here's me. Dead serious. Not able to enjoy myself, following the bomb dogs around, and there's a picture of me literally with her smiling and having the greatest time, and me just with this dead set stare. You know, not able to even enjoy myself with my wife. Save a Warrior is the program that released me from those shackles. I can still remember the day in March, and this wasn't that long ago, folks, March of 2016, so a little over 2 years ago, where I felt like the world was closing in on me. And I went into my office at our home. I grabbed a bottle of Honey Jack Daniels. I grabbed a loaded 9 and a bag of pills that I had from the VA. And I told my wife to come join me in the office because I needed her there for some emotional support. And I had a camera set up with a little record button. And as soon as she walked in, I was thinking she was going to give me words of encouragement, and I hear her mutter under her breath, "Oh shit," as she saw the gun, the drugs, the alcohol. What I did next was I hit a live button on Facebook, and I made a video which ended up going viral within 72 hours to hundreds of thousands of people. How many of you in this audience have lost somebody in your life unexpectedly? By a show of hands. Me too. 2009, I'm just finishing up the Q course. So for you, those of you that are unfamiliar with the Q course is, I was in the Army, I did 12 years. It's the Special Forces Qualification course. It's 2 to 3 years of just misery. Anything from SEER school to small unit tactics to all this other type of training, just misery. And we're told by all the instructors, hey, when you guys get done with this, you're supposed to be happy. You're going to levitate. You're going to get your green beret. It's going to be the greatest moment of your life. And I come out of that final phase of training. We're in isolation, so we're not able to talk to anybody. I come out of the last phase of training after all of this hard work, excited to talk to my family and share with my family and friends that I had made it, that I had earned the green beret. And the first thing that I find out when I come out of this training is that my uncle, he was that uncle that I always looked up to as a kid, that always gave me laughs, and I couldn't wait to see during the holiday season, that he had stepped in front of a train when I was in that training. I had told my wife prior to leaving for that training, do not contact me unless it's life, limb, or eyesight of immediate family only. I said, I've made it this far, I got to get through this training. And so although she wanted to contact me, it was very hard for her to keep that to herself and to wait for me to come out of it. So when I found out they had buried my uncle a month and a half prior and I didn't have any chance to mourn, because later that day I got another call that one of my mentors, a fellow Green Beret, who was just getting ready to retire with his family, he had set up a real estate company with his wife. He was telling me how happy he was to be with his kids, to be able to play baseball with his son, to be able to be a coach. And as he was just getting ready to come back from Afghanistan, he got hit by an IED. So that was the start. That was basically the finish and start of my Special Forces career, were those 2 deaths in a day. So I get out to Okinawa, Japan. My wife and I, we get orders to go out to Okinawa. And other side of the world, it's going to be a new adventure. And I meet somebody there on the island, and we quickly become best friends. And for those of you service members that are out in the audience, you know what that's like when you meet somebody in your unit, you bond, you go to the gym together, you guys jack steel together, your workout buddies, your best buds. And Jeremy, after a couple years together doing operations and deployments all over the world, got separated from my team, and he went downrange ahead of us in a unit. And 2 weeks before he was going to come home, we were talking on Facebook. He's from Mesquite, Texas, so just down the road down there in Dallas. He was talking to his mom. He was getting ready to settle down with the girl. Couldn't wait just to get back home, and he's had plans to get out of the Army. He took a round in the neck on the combat operation. And we got wind of it just as we were getting ready to deploy. So me and the rest of my team, based on Jeremy's wishes, came down here to Texas and gave him a proper burial. And one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do in my entire life was to go into his bedroom. And this is Texas, right? So his mama still had pictures of him from high school football. He was a college football at Murray State player. So she's a proud mom. And his room looked like it had just been left. She hadn't touched a thing since he joined the Army, nearly a decade later. Was to look her in the eyes, the toughest thing I've ever done. And to be strong in front of a mother, because no mother should have to bury her own child. So time goes on. I'm downrange. I've just buried my brother. And I'm in a SEAL SOTF, a Special Operations Task Force. So it's half Green Berets, half Navy SEALs. We're in mud huts scattered around a province in Afghanistan doing operations. We got the SEAL commander, Joe Price, comes to visit me. Great man, I considered him a mentor on that deployment. Did a site assessment, we gave him a briefing, spent some time, had some chai tea with the locals. And 2 days later, after he left our site, he took his life in Tarin Kowt, Afghanistan. 2 days before Christmas. By this point, I'm talking to my wife on Skype. Thank God we live in an era that we can communicate when we're downrange. And I'm getting pretty tired. We had had to say goodbye to each other probably 20-something times over this span. And I'm like, honey, I'm tired. I want to come home. I'm ready to come home. And she knew, because like all military spouses out there, everyone wants to come up and thank a veteran for their service, but a lot of you guys don't get to see what goes on behind the scenes. Sometimes the late bills, the crying kids, is daddy going to come home in a casket? The nights where they don't get any comfort because they don't know if daddy's going to come home in a casket? So if you guys could, just give a brief moment and a round of applause for all the military spouses out there for everything that they do. Because that woman sitting over there recording me right now, if it wasn't for her, I can tell you without a doubt that I would probably be dead in a ditch somewhere. She has held the wheels on this bus for a very long time and continues to do so. There was a documentary made about our organization called The War Comes Home, and I think that's a very fitting title. Because often, even when war ends, it does come home, into the household. And the spouses and the children and other family members and friends get to experience that as well. It's just not the veteran, it's just not the first responder that goes through things. There are ripple effects to this. So again, thank you, honey, I love you.
Love you back.
So we start talking about transition. We had talked about wanting to get out, and it was a very tough decision for me. It's a tough decision that any person that serves in the military or in the first responder corps has to deal with, right? That's a tough choice. It's a choice you have to make. And it comes at different stages for all of us. For me, it was at my 12-year mark. That was especially tough because I had gotten over the hump. I could have just stuck around another 8 years and got my retirement. But I looked at my little ones at home, 2 boys at the time, and I can remember not only them asking those questions to mommy, but all the times I would give them a gift, maybe a stuffed animal before deployment, and them screaming and just throwing that on the ground, crying and looking at me. And they were like daggers, having to say goodbye to my children every time. And so I made the choice, again, a tough decision, that it was in my best interest and my family's best interest to come home. Now during this transition, I had another teammate, and if you guys don't know about, I know you guys know probably plenty about SEALs and platoons based on this event, and Chris's affiliation being a Navy SEAL. In Special Forces, we operate very similarly. We're like family. We have ODAs, Operational Detachment Alpha. That's a 12-man team. So you are a family. You know everything about each other. And so I'd already lost one of my family members. And on the teams, we like to bust each other's chops. So we had this guy, Tim. We always busted his chops. He was the guy we always mess around with. Well, as I was getting ready to transition out, Tim went and got a hotel room. Some things were going on with the military, and he didn't share that with us, and he took his own life. So now we were 2 down in our ODA, 2 down on our family. I transition out, and I think everything's going to be good. It's 2014. Oh, I'm great. I was a Green Beret, top secret clearance, got my degree. Things are going to be awesome when I go to get out. I got this covered. And they were good. Those first 6 months, we had wonderful times as a family. I was enjoying the newfound freedom that I had. It's fantastic. I said, wow, the Army doesn't control me anymore. They can't just send us wherever we want. There was things that I missed. I obviously missed the brotherhood. I missed my team. I missed the up-tempo, the deployments. But at about that 6-month point, the wheels started to fall off. I want to reach out to one of my old friends, and his name's Zach Zink. He was the first guy I met when I came in the Army back in 2002. And when I went to reach out to him, I had seen RIP on his Facebook page. And he had taken his life on my birthday. And that was when I drew the line in the sand. I was so upset and so angry by not getting help, personally for myself, seeing brothers of mine taking their lives, people I considered my family, that the only thing I knew how to do was to get this off my chest. So I sat down and I made that live video. And Jeff's up here and he's talking about fate, talking about how we met at a previous event, and then we met again. Well, here's some fate for you guys. I make this video, hundreds of thousands of people see it, getting notifications from folks from DC, hey, we want to talk to you about this. Other organizations, hey, can you come talk to us about this? And one really stuck out to me. A shepherd at an organization called Save a Warrior reached out to me and said, hey, we saw that you're in Columbus. We're about 20 minutes down the road. You want to go meet at a cafe? I was hesitant at first. It's like, who are these guys? What do they want from me? But I figured I don't have anything to lose, so why don't I go meet them? So I drove over to the cafe. I showed up about an hour early. I was armed. I did a surveillance route. I didn't trust these guys at all. Like, who the heck are these guys? Heck, I wanted to fight some of them. And Jake Clark was there. And Jake had a conversation with me for about 20 minutes, talking about, if you guys know Jake, he can get very long-winded, talking about everything encompassed within this program and what he's done and his vision and this and that. He laid it all out for me. But first, I want you to come to have a seat in Malibu. I want you to come check out this program. I want you to come witness Save a Warrior. And so again, I thought, what do I have to lose? I'm going to go out to Malibu, I'll check it out. Because whatever I've been doing right now up until this point is not working in my life. So I took a flight out to Malibu. This is in May. So 2 months later, I'm on the next cohort. I'm out in Malibu, California, with really no expectations. I just wanted to come check out this program. And as Jake would say, come pet the pony. because we do equine therapy out there. So I came out to the program, sat in the seat as a witness, and quickly found out there are no witnesses at Save a Warrior. And for the next 5.5 days, with 10 other men, I saw miracles. I saw guys who had tried to take their life that week, thank God unsuccessfully, completely change their trajectory right in front of me as I was going through this process. Guys who were on crystal meth, cocaine, with assault rifles, that were in the mindset, right now, I feel if a cop pulls me over, that I would gun that cop down. That's the mindset some of the individuals that sat in the seat with me were having. To now, these individuals are clean. Some of them are doing just amazing things like organic farming. They've gone off to work for other organizations. But everybody that came through that cohort with me did a complete 180 from where they were going, including myself. Now, prior to going to Save a Warrior, and one of the main reasons why I went to Saul, outside of everything that was happening to my brothers, was that I was in denial. I thought that I legitimately was a witness. I'm just gonna come check this program out. That was my mindset. And what really struck me was my son was at a parent-teacher conference, and he was talking about what his parents did to his teachers. And for sure, I thought he was gonna brag about his dad. His dad was a Green Beret. His dad went on all these deployments and stuff. And so he said, my mom helps people for a living. She helps them get through struggles and lose weight and all these other things. She helps them. Well, what does your dad do? Oh, he sits on the couch and drinks beer and watches football. And so I had to think really internally. I got out of the military to be with my family, because my family is my most important thing in my life. And that's what my own family, my son, thinks of me. That's what he thinks when he looks up and sees dad. Not this hero, and I am no hero, but not this guy that went out and served his country. He sees a guy that's drinking beer and watching football. I didn't get out to be that guy. Save a Warrior helped me put behind that boyhood behavior and become the man that I was supposed to be. All my wife ever asked of me when I got out, she didn't ask me to do dishes, she didn't ask me to do the laundry, she didn't ask me to do a lot of little things around the house. She just asked me to give her a hug every day. That's not asking a lot. And I was so cold and closed off that I couldn't even do that for her. So when I went through Saul, one of the shepherds, his name's Terrence, one of my brothers, said, hey, I'm gonna do you one more, as I was telling him the story. Every time that you hug your wife, I want you to hug her until she lets go of you. So when I came back from Save a Warrior, I got down, when I got to see my kids, because they came running up to me, I got down on their level, gave them a big old bear hug, connected with my children, and then got up and looked my wife in the eye and walked up to her, and I did give her a hug until she let go. And that's how I do business now around the house, because that means something. That matters to her, it matters to me. Accolades, business success, all these other things. We sat in a vehicle with the gentleman today talking about business success and how all these things he had accomplished, but he was telling me his number one regret was that through all that success, he had to sacrifice his family. And it broke my heart, because that was the guy I was becoming, not just in the military, but even as I got out. I wasn't present, I wasn't around. Now I'm laser focused on my family. I know what I want, I know who I am. So, as you go forth after this night, I encourage you, for those that are close to you, hold on to them tightly until they let go. And for those of you around you that are struggling, veteran or not, be there for them in their darkest times. And if you have a veteran or first responder in your life, encourage them to seek help and to come see us, because we'll be here waiting with our arms wide open. Thank you everyone for that. And I must thank, before I get off the stage, I'm going to bring up another guest here. It's very close to me. I must thank the Kyle family. Jeff, I know you're over there. Wayne. One of the greatest gifts in my life has been able to give the gift of salt. And it has meant the world to me being there with both of you as you went through your cohorts to give that gift to you guys. Because that's what it's really all about. That's what this life is all about. If there's one thing that this program has really taught me at the core, is that service to others and statesmanship is what this life is about. So the fact that you guys came through and answered the call, it means the world to me. I know it means the world to the rest of our organization. And Wayne, I know that at this moment right now, that your son will be very proud of everything that you and Jeff and everybody in your family continue to sacrifice for other veterans and first responders out there. So one more time, let's give a round of applause for Wayne and Jeff Kyle. So this next guest has a pedigree that could go on for pages. He's worked at the Secret Service for Ronald Reagan. He was an FBI agent. Did time down in Panama in the U.S. Army. Was an LAPD officer in South Central LA. LA, as Jake would say it. And this program, as Jeff had spoke about, in the last 6 years has created so many ripple effects. Because again, what it really comes down to is coming back home to your family, to your community, and making a difference. Making sure that your parents, making sure that you are a parent to your children, and that your wife or husband has a spouse. And Jake, this program continues to create those ripple effects and change lives all over this country. And your friendship, your brotherhood, your mentorship throughout all this has really meant the world to me and my family. And I know that there's plenty of others here sitting in the seat out in the audience that would attest and agree with that. Jake also does probably one of the meanest renditions of an a cappella of Back in Black that I have ever heard in my entire life. And maybe, just maybe, we can get him to do that up here. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you the founder of Save a Warrior, Jake Clark.